we're starting to see the sort of emergence of stem cells, specifically like MSCs, right? MSC IVs becoming more and more popular, mesenchymal stem cells, which are stem cells derived from a few different places. They can be derived from fat. They can be derived from your teeth. They can be derived from umbilical cord blood, other places as well. And so what's really, really cool about MSCs, and we're offering MSC IVs here at Gevity soon as well. We actually got together with, her name's Dr. Joy Kong. She's the stem cell doctor of the decade. She's awesome. She has a practice out of LA. She's an advisor to Gevity on the medical side. To basically co-create a first of its kind using her methodology at-home stem cell IV product. And we're using mesenchymal stem cells derived from umbilical cord blood, and no controversy, no embryos. They're all, it's all from a maternal birth that took place. And we even go as far, the mother has to sign off that she didn't get the COVID-19 vaccine. That's how far we go.
Amazing.
When we source these stem cells. And so totally ethically sourced. But what's really cool about them is we're recycling what would have otherwise been just waste. It would have just been thrown in a trash can and not used, these stem cells. And they're almost like similar to peptides messengers. If you view your body as an organization, the MSCs, these stem cells, are almost like the CEO coming in on a parachute to put out fires. So they're not going to necessarily be the ones doing the tasks. They're going to be sending memos and making calls and coordinating. They're going to be telling the cells to go over here and do some repair on this tissue, or basically get these immune cells at bay over here. And so it's really cool because when you do an MSC IV, you don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen, in the sense that you don't know what's going to be healed, because a lot of the time you don't even know what needs healing. There's stuff that's happening inside that is off a lot of the time that you just are going through life not knowing about. So these MSCs, when you do a MSC IV, it's going to, at a systemic level, essentially find out where in your body needs healing, and it's going to go to those areas on its own. And there's specific receptors that there's things in your body that are released whenever there's inflammation. And so it's drawn to that, and it finds those areas. And it goes to them and it performs, it gives it specific memos, specific messages to perform healing. And that's really cool because this isn't some manufactured product that a big pharmaceutical company made. This is potentially the most powerful therapeutic that we know about in existence as it relates to longevity. Stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells. And it's completely natural. It already exists in nature. And forever, we've just been throwing them away. And now we know we can actually use them to heal people. We've had, Dr. Kong has one story that I just want to tell really quick. She had this person who his liver was failing and he was put in hospice. He didn't qualify for a liver transplant because he was an IV drug user. And if you're an IV drug user, you don't qualify for a liver transplant. And so he was told he was going to die. He's put in hospice as a last resort effort. He gathered all of his funds, went to Dr. Kong, one stem cell IV, leaves the clinic. Dr. Kong isn't necessarily sure what happened. Months go by. She's on a radio show. And the brother of that person calls in and is like, hey, Dr. Kong, you saved my brother's life. But not only did you save my brother's life, he has no elevated liver markers. His liver is completely fine now. And it's just like her mind was blown because this was earlier on in her career. And this was one of those just like healing moments that she experienced where it's like, I need to dedicate my life to this. And since then, she's dedicated her life towards stem cells, and she's the place to go in America. Now, luckily, will be a solution that will bring it to you.
How do you make that affordable?
That's the thing. There's only so many Dr. Kongs to go around.
There's only
right?
so many babies as well.
Yeah,
mothers.
There's only some. There are, but babies are happening, are being born every single day, and most of the time we're just disposing of the umbilical cord blood. And
that's a whole
that
podcast
stuff
on its own, man. I'm not about that.
Yeah.
I think that's a very sacred organ.
Yeah. Yep. So it's People are disposing of it, just putting it in the trash can.
So disgusting.
Yep. And so, there's never been an issue in like, oh, we can't source enough Wharton jelly or mesenchymal stem cells.
Okay, so the supply is there.
Supply is there. It's just they're expensive because for a couple reasons. Primarily, there's not enough good doctors out there to actually see everybody. And so by default, if there's increasing demand for a product, but not enough of you to go around, you have to increase your prices.
This sounds like a holy grail of extension of longevity, this MSCs.
It is. Peptides plus MSCs, we believe at Gevity, are the future of longevity. I think these are two therapeutics that will get us to living into our hundreds, well into our hundreds. And there's data across the world, not just here in America, but across the world being done on studies being done on mesenchymal stem cells that support this as well. People already know that they're great for neurodegenerative diseases and other autoimmune issues and various issues. But now they're starting to be used as a preventative and proactive therapeutic to essentially ensure that your body is in this nearly perpetual state of healed, not healing, but healed. And so if you have the means, you should definitely consider looking into an MSC IV. If you go some places, they'll charge as much as $50,000 for one, which is just ridiculous. Most people don't have those sort of resources. So what we're trying to do is get them down to between a $5,000 to $8,000 price point, but delivering it to your home and maybe adding on some financing options to that to make it more digestible.
Because you don't need multiple doses of this, right?
No.
How many doses do you really need?
Well, it depends on the person, right? If they're coming in with a lot of issues, autoimmune or whatever that might be, if they're older, if they're larger, weight plays into things. So totally dose dependent, depending on the individual, in their needs and what they have going on already. But as a preventative therapeutic, once a year, if you can, twice a year, but once a year is like a pretty good baseline.
Yeah.
And with Gevity, you'll just be able to go to your application and order one up. But then exosomes are really cool, and we're pairing that on top of the MSCs, and that's also becoming popular as well. So
how do you feel like that price will eventually come down?
Our goal is to get it so we're just a few $1,000s. The pricing, a lot of stuff has to happen for the pricing to come down further. We have RFK Jr., head of the HHS. He's been outspoken on things like stem cells and peptides for a long time and how the FDA suppresses these things. Why? Because they work. And now that he's the head of the HHS, he's got a lot of tape that he has to cut through. And if he can cut through a lot of that tape, the pricing on a lot of these therapeutics across the board will come down. But there's a lot of people at the HHS who are legacy medicine people who just don't like the new leadership and are not going to make it easy for him to do so. So, we got to be supportive of his battle there, I think.
Well, all the big trees in the forest eventually fall over and then new trees grow. I think that's where we're at in the conversation. What an exceptional podcast. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming on. It's on the screen, y'all. It's not cheap. It's not easy to run a company like yours. So the link, the code, Josh20% off your first membership, which is amazing, right? Margins make the world run so much. And gosh, the fact that we get to have discounts is so amazing because money is energy and many people are on a limited supply. Whoa. If you enjoyed that one you just saw, you will love this one on the screen. Click it and enjoy.